and welcome to Good Morning Miramar. I'm your host, Tamara G. As always, you can check us out on all of our social media. We are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at City of Miramar. And with me today, I have two lovely new friends we've just met in the last year. And I feel like I've known these two ladies forever, but they are here to promote their new book. It's called Leading with a Growth Mindset, Unlocking Your Potential. And we have today with us Dr. Danita A. Crawford. She has more than 20 years of mental and behavioral health, higher education, senior management, and government administration that she's been doing for so many years. She has recognized that true leadership goes beyond strategy. It's also about inspiring, guiding, and empowering others. We also have Dr. Shirley Sims with us. She's had the privilege of spending more than 22 years navigating leadership roles across higher education, nonprofit, and government administration. And throughout her career, she has learned that leadership is not just about making decisions, it's also about inspiring others and driving meaningful collaborations and embracing change in times of uncertainty, which we sort of have a lot of that for sure. We're going to talk about this and more. But welcome to the show, ladies.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so
Thank you
much.
so much for having us. Thank
No
you.
problem, no problem. So the first thing, when I met the two of you, I call you the dynamic duo. It seems like if you see one, you see the other. How long have you guys known each other and obviously been friends and also, friends in business now that you have
hmm
booked together? We'll start with you, Dr. Crawford.
Well, we've known each other for a few years. The funny part is that we were in several organizations together, but we didn't know it. We were members of the same sorority, Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, as well as members of several professional organizations. We had kind of been moving in the same circles, but we met at a conference approximately 2 to 3 years ago, where we finally had a moment together. We started talking about our past. We started talking about the things that we were passionate about. And then that's how we became very close.
Yes.
And that is truly divine intervention because
Yes,
you've been in all of these other organizations together. You should be running into each other all the time.
you would
So
think so.
yes, is
Yeah.
that the right story, Dr. Sims, or is there another one?
It is, but I want to add to that. People were telling me that I need to get to know Dr. Crawford. I was like, wait, who is this person? And then, like she said, we met at a conference and we just hit it off since then. When you meet someone and it's the season and everything is right. And then we came together and we just found that we did have a lot of things in common. And then one day we were I'm a coffee drinker. So we were talking and we were like, hey, we really need to put these doctorate degrees to work. Both of us have our doctorate in organizational leadership. And then we started thinking, how can we really maximize all of our connections, individuals coming to us and saying, hey, I'm struggling with this, or I really need a mentor. And just we found ourselves always giving out advice. And so we're like, hey, haha, we should we should write a book.
We
We're
should
like,
write a book.
how hard could it be? We wrote an entire dissertation. We studied this for 3+ years. We've interviewed people professionally and did a lot of research. So that's where the whole book idea took off. And we started planning for a year on really looking at what we wanted our book to be about. But yes, so that's how the DSC collective was born between myself and Dr. Crawford.
Well, speaking of the book, obviously you can pre-order it now, you can see that, but leading with a growth mindset, unlocking your potential. So with both of you being in the workforce
Mhm.
and being high up, I mean, you guys are in positions of power, you're in positions where you oversee other people. How do you see the growth mindset? Do people have it today in this day and age? And I'll start with you, Dr. Sims, because it almost seems like people are just okay with the status quo. They're not really trying to move up the ladder. They're not really trying to move down the
Mhm.
ladder, but
Mhm.
so what is that growth mindset?
So when we were talking about what the book should be about, me and Dr. Crawford, as she stated, we are in a lot of different organizations. I have my own nonprofit, I Train Now, which I founded in 2020. I also do a lot of work with another nonprofit called Project Men, in which they focus on mentoring um, individuals of color and really looking at what is it that emerging leaders are missing? You know, even individuals that are professional within their career, we can never stop learning. So then me and Dr. Crawford start looking at our own experiences, you know, coming up at the time when I was a young administrator. I was 24 with a master's degree. Back then, a master's was like golden. Like I was a woman of color with a master's degree, making decisions and being in a position of influence. So transitioning to now, looking at individuals, what what makes you live with purpose? We are all about finding what makes you happy. What is your purpose? Why are you here? Is it that you are here to influence others? We want to make sure that leading with a growth mindset is not just about professional, but your life. You are the captain of your own ship. A lot of the times making decisions, just not making a decision without thinking about it, but making sure you're making a decision in which you have actually planned that decision out. So leading with a growth mindset is not only for emerging leaders or seasoned professionals, it's just really to help individuals try to navigate this thing called life on a personal and professional level.
Well, I'm glad that y'all took on that because I need it. But so now that Dr. Sims has talked about, the growth mindset as it relates to work and your personal life, Dr. Crawford, I wanted to delve a little bit deeper into that because we see people that they have it going on at work, but
Mhm.
man, that personal life is jacked
Yes.
up. Or maybe you don't even know it's jacked up because you work at such a high level with your job that you don't know that everything else is falling apart, or maybe you don't even see it. So what do
Mhm.
you say to that?
Well, that's very true. And actually, that was part of us joining forces. We were having these conversations about just this. We have very, we tackle things in the same way. We are very strategic. We plan, we're goal oriented. We have our vision boards. We're constantly joining with other women, inspiring other women while allowing them to inspire us. So we do the same things. And one thing that we noticed was that we weren't utilizing our degrees. So while we may have been executing in our professional world, we were actually not using our degrees for that. We didn't, it wasn't required. And then that also led into us realizing that the passion or desire to obtain our degrees wasn't there anymore. It was kind of like a back burner, like, oh, yes, I did obtain that, but it may just be something that I'll use in the future. When the intent was to research, the intent was to inspire others, the intent was just to make change. So one thing that we realized that we had lost in our personal part was just the passion, just having
Yes.
passion to move forward, passion to just really dive into the work that we had planned to when we, started the program, thinking about the pandemic and all and everything that was happening at the
Mhm.
time. We realized that we needed to get back in touch with who we were when we were inspired. So that's one thing that we wanted to kind of feed into others. We wanted to ensure that they tapped into their whatever inspires them, tap into whatever motivates them to be their best selves, and then that will then transition into how their life progresses. So when you're not meeting what your expectations are in one area of your life, it always, trickles down into other parts of your life.
Yes.
So even though you're hitting those goals, you're
Yeah.
getting those promotions,
Mhm.
sooner or later it's all going to fall into each other and you're going to feel unsatisfied. And then when you start to feel unsatisfied, you start to focus on what's not working for
Yes.
you. And then that kind of pulls you away from the things that you were doing well at. So I think it's all a balance. I think our book provides that information in a way that it balances personal and professional. While
Yes.
you may be thinking of how do I maintain my career? How do I get to the next level? How do I become an executive if that's your goal? You may also be thinking about how do I also satisfy my life? How do I, if
Mhm.
you're interested in being married and having children, how can I attain that while I'm just strapped for my time? I don't have enough time to do that. So that's part of what the book describes. The book is really about balancing your life in a way that keeps you motivated, but also keeps you satisfied.
Wow. If you're just tuning in, thank you so much for watching Good Morning Miramar. We are speaking today with Dr. Danita A. Crawford. Let me tell you, both of these women, accolades galore. Dr. Crawford, 2015 Innovation of the Year Award, recognition as one of Broward County's 100 Outstanding Women in 2016 and 2017, 2024 Women to Watch, and most recently, the 2024 Legacy Magazine's South Florida Top Educators Award. Dr. Sims, just as dedicated and has so many awards too. The 2017 Tampa Bay Award-winning business owner, the 2020 Community Heroes Awardee, the 2021 Excellence in Education Awardee, 2023 Legacy South Florida Most Prominent Women in Business Awardee, and in 2024, she was named one of the top 50 women chiefs of staff in America. So, with everything that you all just said about that growth mindset,
Mhm.
do you think that this, Dr. Sims, happens more to women where we kind of get stuck, or does it happen to men, or is it equal?
So I'm glad you asked that. One thing that me and Dr. Crawford did in writing this book is we actually surveyed. We wanted to know what were some of the challenges that individuals were actually having at this time. We wanted to know some of the strategies that they used to cope with different things. So we actually sent a survey out to 100 individuals across the U.S., so not just South Florida. We reached out to individuals in California, up north, in the mid-U.S., just to get an understanding. That range of our survey went all the way from individuals in college to retirees. So we wanted to make sure that we were writing a book in which that can really speak to a very diverse group of individuals. And also making sure that we had actionable steps in our book. Throughout the book, there are actionable prompts. We do get you thinking about
I gotta do
different
homework.
things. Yeah, wait, listen, it's to help you make sure your goals stay aligned and that you are making those actionable steps. As Dr. Crawford stated earlier, we are both women that are visionaries and strategic planners. So we really put a lot of that thought process back into writing this book to make it something that we will be really proud of to share with the readers and the individuals that help contribute to the book. So through our research process and interviews, we found that it's a combination of both. Men and women struggle, with climbing the ladder in which they want to climb. They struggle with building those relationships. So one part of our book really focuses on how do you build those relationships at work? How do you become a good communicator through being a leader? Remember, not at work, but also in your life, in those relationships, those personal relationships, and making sure you show up when you're supposed to show up and don't overcommit yourself. In a society in which our calendars stay full of events, and
Yes.
understanding the power of no and being okay with that. So we touch really deep into a lot of things that really help people think about the type of life that they want to live and help them envision and making those actionable steps towards achieving those goals.
So I love what you said there, Dr. Sims. I'm wanting to ask Dr. Crawford this question because you mentioned about, people wanting to become the leaders that they want to become.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Crawford, does everybody have it in them to be a leader? And what if you don't want to be a leader? What if I just want to follow? I'm going to follow you and Dr. Sims. I don't want to do anything else. I'm going to do a good job, but I don't want to be a leader because there are some people who just,
Yeah.
that's the question. Does everyone have leadership in them?
So that is how we start the book. So I'm glad you say that. We start the book by describing different leadership styles. And within everyone, there is a leadership style that they are drawn to.
Mm-hmm.
And while they may not want to lead others, they still have to lead their lives. So there has to be some form of control over themselves, some form of control over the direction of their life. So in any way that they choose, they may not want to lead others, but they would still have to find some form of leadership style to ensure that they're not only maintaining themselves, but their relationship with others. So while we start in describing the leadership styles that are present, we also transition into understanding communication styles and how you're communicating with others, including your family, including coworkers. You may not want to be the executive, but you do want to maintain your job. So in order to have those good relationships, the book teaches you how to regulate yourself in a way that you're able to maintain the status quo if that's your desire.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to add on to that, Dr. Sims, in any way?
I was just going to add, and that's the uniqueness of our book. It is okay that you said that everyone doesn't desire to be a leader, but as Dr. Crawford said, we have to lead our lives. What does that look like? And so I think that is a good point that Dr. Crawford brought up, and uniqueness of our book. As I stated, we looked a lot of how we've evolved over our careers, our personal life, how we balance and make sure that we're juggling everything that life has to offer for us, but also making sure that we feel that fulfillment of the things that we're doing in this life. We only have one life.
Absolutely.
And we cannot run time back. But just making sure that, are you doing what you really want to do in life? And if you're not, what are those actionable steps? And what are those things that you can do with making sure that some of your goals do flourish to what you're trying to do?
And I just want to add on to that. There is another portion of the book where it helps people to identify what they want in life, because there may be a moment in your life where you just are frustrated with yourself and frustrated with your choices. Throughout our career, we both talk about our resilience. We talk about our ability to pivot. We both had moments where we questioned our choices. And sometimes you may have to stop what you're doing. Yes. You may have to take that sabbatical. You may have to make the decision to change the direction of your life or your career or even your relationships. And in the book, it describes those moments of uncertainty and how you can then guide your path, like the questions. And while we were talking about actionable prompts, we also have reflective prompts where we start to question, what do we want? Where do we see ourselves in a few years? How can we get to where we want to be? And if we don't know where we want to be, how can we maintain satisfaction in what we're doing now?
Yes, absolutely.
And that truly is a gift, this growth mindset that you're talking about, because no one should go through life doing anything that they don't want to do. You know, you hear stories in the past where somebody stayed on a job 40 years and they hated it for 30 of the 40 years. Why would you do that to yourself?
Yes.
Same thing with relationships. So obviously, having a growth mindset will allow you to move out of whatever those situations may be. And I'm glad that you guys are saying that it is not only is it professional, it's personal as well.
It's very much a personal thing. And it's also, you can also connect that back to generations of people. And I know that all three of us identify as Black women. We have generations of people who have struggled with identifying themselves or even just presenting themselves in a certain way. So you kind of stick with what's allowed. So in the book, it allows you to think outside of the box, think of yourself in a different way, and think of yourself in a way that could then expand your options, or even just expand your thoughts in a way that just internally you may grow.
Yes.
And that's what it's all about, is growth, growth, growth. So now tell us, Dr. Sims, where can people get the book, Leading with a Growth Mindset, Unlocking Your Potential, which says it all, because I do believe everybody has potential to be great. You just got to make that choice, and you got to do the hard work that comes with the growth, because I think that too is what has held a lot of people back. They don't want to do the work. They don't want to do it. It's too hard.
It is hard. Life is hard. So absolutely, we invite you to pre-order our book. It will actually be released on February 26th. We do have pre-orders right now, and you can order it from our website, which is www.dscinspiration.com. Learn more about myself and Dr. Crawford and all the other initiatives that we're currently doing in the community. But yes, please order your book. We have a few options for you if you want an autographed copy from us. We will be going out and doing some book signings in the community. So please, as I stated, go to our website, www.dscinspiration.com.
Sounds good. And of course, they are also available to come and speak to your organizations. There's fees for that, obviously, but because they are some dynamic speakers, as you can tell, this is going to be amazing. They're going to open up your organization. So whatever organization that is, if you would love to have them come and be guest speakers, then I am sure that they can make that happen as well. But I know that this book is going to do great because of the subject matter. I mean,
Mhm.
as we mentioned, to have a growth mindset, not to have a mindset where you're stuck in a rut
Yes.
or not moving forward, but unlocking your potential, whatever that may be. Maybe people are stuck in the wrong job. You've been doing the
Hmm.
wrong thing. Maybe people are stuck in the wrong relationship. And
Yes.
this will be a way to open up your eyes to do something different. Well, it sounds good. Well, listen, again, tell us, Dr. Crawford, where people can get the book so that they can pre-order it now and they can give it out for gifts. How about that?
Yes.
Yes, please do so. www.dscinspiration.com. It's a very quick click, and you can then open your world.
All right, sounds good. Well, thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Again, Dr. Shirley Sims, spending 22 years navigating leadership roles across higher education, nonprofit, and government administration. Dr. Danita A. Crawford has more than 20 years of mental and behavioral health, higher education, senior management, and government administration experience. And they have written this wonderful book that they want everyone to get. Please do it. It would be good for men and women. It is
Yes.
called Leading with a Growth Mindset, Unlocking Your Potential, and you can get it now.
Yep. Thank you so much, Tamara. This was fun. This was great. Thank you so much for having us
No
and allowing us
problem.
to share our story and give back. Thank you.
No
This
problem.
was
I'm looking to unlock my potential too. I may need to do something different too. Thank you so much, Dr. Crawford. Thank you so much, Dr. Sims. And thank you for watching Good Morning Miramar. Until next time, I'm your host, Tamara G. See ya.